I'm back again with another very long-awaited makeup tutorial. It's been like a while since I've done one of these, and I'm so happy to say that they're coming back. So if you came from my Instagram, then you probably already know that this is a Furina makeup tutorial. I've only cosplayed her once before, and I'm so excited to bring her back. So without further ado, I'm gonna put my wig cap and my costume on, and we'll get right into the video. Alright, I'm back with my costume and my wig cap on, so let's jump right into contacts. I put my contacts on first before I do any makeup, just because it is the safest way to do contacts when you're getting into a cosplay, considering the fact that if you put them in after you have your foundation or your eye makeup on, when you're putting them in, you could accidentally get like particles of any kind of like makeup in your contact and put that in your eye, and that can harm and damage your eye. So whenever you're wearing colored contacts, just make sure to be safe. But for Furina, I'm going to be wearing two different kinds of colored contacts. Now, the ones I'm going to be using are the Vika Tricolor Blue for her lighter eye, and then I'm pretty sure it's the Love Words Blue for her darker eye. So here we are. I'm going to start with the lighter eye, if I can get it open, because I just did all of my skin prep for beforehand. I can't get it open. Oh, I did it. I got it open. I'm pretty sure. And the way I like to put them in my eyes, and of course you don't have to do this if it's not your preferred method, but I just dropped them on the floor. I like to use the... dropped it on the floor again. Definitely don't do that when you're putting in your contacts. It's not good. But I like to use the tweezers and the little applicator that a lot of contacts come with. You can use your finger if you want to. Just make sure to wash your hands beforehand, like if that's easier for you. I know a lot of people who it is easier for them to just like put it in with like their finger, because you know, just put it in your eye. But for me, I like to use this little applicator. This little applicator right here. So what I like to do is I just pull my eye down, and I like tilt my head down, and I look directly over here and just put the lens in my eye, lift my eyelid up, and then boom, it's in. Alright, now that my contacts are in, we can jump right into the base makeup. The primer that I've been using recently is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with the 4% niacinamide. I feel like it's like a little less sticky than the regular e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, which I do like about it, but they're pretty much the same. I just take like a little bit on my fingers and I rub it together, and I just do a thing where I tap it directly into my skin. Excuse the background noise, my roommate is also getting ready with me. We're going out in cosplay today. But I just pretty much put it everywhere. I'm going to put any kind of foundation or concealer or just base product pretty much everywhere other than my eyes. But once I have that all in, I tap, 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 and then I let it sit for like a good like 30 seconds to get like super tacky, and then we can go right in with the other primers and foundation. Now, this step of makeup is completely optional, but for someone like me who obviously has a few blemishes on my skin and some redness I would like to take care of, like right here on my nose, I like to do a little bit of a color correcting step in the middle of my priming step. So what I really like to use are two of these products, which are just like redness erasers. This is the L'Oreal Prime Lab 24-hour redness eraser. And then this is the LA Colors green concealer. So I use the primer first on top of the gripping primer I just put down, and I just take a very little bit here on my fingers, and I just put this wherever I have any amount of redness, so like a general redness, since this is the lighter coverage of the two, since it is a primer and not a color correcting concealer. And as you can see, that really just helped neutralize the reds that were already on my skin from like the irritated little blemishes that I already have, which are not open. Just so you guys know, do not put makeup directly onto like an open or like freshly popped like zit on your face. Like, it's just gonna make it worse, and just let that heal over before you do any makeup, because I've done that in the past and it is just not fun to deal with. But once you have that on, I like to go in with this little concealer, and what you do is you just squeeze a little bit out. Do the same thing on my finger like so, and then anywhere else you can really just kind of see a lot more. That's a lot more prevalent. I like to just dab on top lightly and like blend it out so it kind of just becomes a darker spot I can cover with my concealer. But now we can move to foundation and concealer. The foundation that I'm going in with today is my usual foundation, which is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation, and the shade I'm using is number 395. It's one of the lighter shades because, as you can see, I am a very pale person. But the shade range on this foundation is honestly really nice. Like, they have a lot of really good like varieties in the tone in general, and then a lot of different kinds of undertones, which I really appreciate, because I find whenever I'm looking for foundations, a lot of them tend to be a little bit too warm for me, so they end up making me look like yellow or just kind of orange. But this is a really nice cool toned, like, pale foundation, and I know that they have a lot of good varieties in darker complexions too, so I would definitely recommend it. So basically what I like to do with this is I take the back of my hand and I pump a couple pumps out. So I do like pump, pump, so you can see right there, and then I just like to pick it up with a beauty sponge, like right on the tip of that, and I just kind of just start laying it out evenly across my face and blending everywhere. It's just like around the vicinity of my eyes. Now for concealer, I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Concealer. And the shade is Porcelain, which is number 320. Yet another really nice, cool toned concealer. And I just like to put this like in the vicinity of like my eyes and stuff, so I can do like a dot here and here. This is honestly a really nice coverage concealer, so I don't really recommend like getting really heavy-handed with it. Like a dot or two can really do like a lot for you, and I just like to do basically like this kind of thing, this little like cross look before I start blending it out. And I just take the same sponge I used for my foundation and I just start buffing that out. See already how bright that is just from that one little dot. Just taking all that product down like the side of my nose and like underneath my eye. A little really goes a long way. And I even take it up on top of my eyelid to start priming that a little for eyeshadow. I'm getting a really nice even blend, and you can already see just by blending that out how different my eyes look. If you ever think like, oh, I have foundation, like I don't need concealer, like I would definitely 100% recommend concealer, and even sometimes I would recommend concealer more than foundation. If you feel like it's not a foundation day, you can honestly just get away with putting concealer on in general, just because that like brightness really just helps even out the darker parts of your face and like make it one like kind of unanimous skin tone. So basically, yeah, definitely like you see the difference between these two like a lot. Now, what I also like to do with my concealer is go back over the blemishes that we color corrected before, just because it helps cover up that little gray part that the foundation might not take care of by itself. So again, you just need a very little bit when you're covering up blemishes, and I think that's a good amount of coverage. But here I have all of my blemishes kind of dotted with that concealer, and I'm just going to show you this guy on the side right here because he's been a little bit troublesome. you can see how the before and the after, it is a lot more diminished and a lot less noticeable. Now, you might not get it away completely, like these little blemishes right here aren't gone completely, but they are blurred a lot more and a lot less noticeable. So I definitely recommend that. Concealing a little bit after your foundation on top of blemishes. And another thing that I like to do before I powder and set my face, especially when I'm going out, is I like to set my cream products before I add any powder products. This just kind of helps them all really blend together on my face before I like just go in and set them completely with powder, so that you don't end up with something super cakey or super like dry in some areas. It just really makes it all just kind of one unanimous like thing on your face, if you know what I'm saying. So I just like to take my e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist, and I just dust that all over my face like so. And then once you feel like it's nice and evenly coated, I like to take a fan, but you can use your hands or just like anything if you want to. You can even just let it sit and let it dry, but I like to fan mine to make it go by faster, just to get it nice and even and dry. Setting powder time. Okay, I like to go in with the L'Oreal Paris Hydra Perfect powder, and I just got these like super cute little like powder puffs off of like TikTok shop, but like it came in like this super big pack, so I have like a butt ton of them in here, and like honestly they're super nice, so I would definitely recommend these. I have been doing it with like a sponge for the past few times I've been doing my makeup. These guys, they honestly, they feel like a lot more blurring. I didn't expect them to actually make a difference, but they really kind of do. So if you can, I would definitely recommend getting one of these little powder puff guys. Anyways, I just like to go in with my loose powder, and I'll just take it on the tip of this powder puff here, and I'll like pat that out on like the back of my hand so that I'm not getting like a lot of product on my face, because if you go in with like a lot of powder over like cream, it'll like sometimes make you look really cakey, and like that's what we really want to avoid when we're doing our makeup. But we just want to lock it in and make sure that this lasts like all day, especially if you have oily skin. I would recommend this because I have like more of like a mixed oily kind of complexion, so throughout the day like my T-zone gets really oily, around my nose does, so the setting powder just helps my makeup like really lock in and stay on my face. So what I like to do is I like to start by going under my eyes, and I just press that in really nice and good, and you can already see me just moving my head that this side is so much shinier than this side. Like this side is just so mattified just from that little bit of powder that we've already pressed into it. And I just like to take this all over my face, and then I get a really good nice matte base to work on once I start adding my other powders. I would though recommend not setting your face completely, or at least not setting it before you put any kind of like cream or liquid product on your face. Let's say like you prefer to use like cream or liquid blush over powder blush. I'd recommend doing your blush in this step with your creams, like your concealer and your foundation, and then letting that set with like the setting spray and then going in with powder, because once you start adding creams on top of powder products, it gets like kind of weird, and like it might wipe off your makeup and like make like the finish look a little off. So definitely I say start with creams, set, and then go in with your powders. Now, the order of steps for makeup from like this point on, aside from like a couple of obvious things, can get kind of like just mixed around for me. It doesn't really need to be in any particular order. So for now, I'm just going to start with my blush. And the blush I'm using today is the Flower Nose No. 3 Classic Ballet. I got this as a gift for my anniversary from my boyfriend, and I love this so much. I'm not sponsored, but if Flower Nose wants to sponsor me, you know, reach out. You know, I love the products. They're so good. And I mean, aside from how beautiful the packaging is, the actual product on the inside has so much pigment and it is honestly super lovely. So what I really like to do with this is I take it on this kind of like round little flat top brush, and I know this brush probably isn't really even for blush, but I just like the way that it packs on. So I just take a little bit of this onto the tip of my brush and I go in this kind of area of under my eye and then like right lined up with the edge of my nose. So I go like right here with the blush on the apple of my cheek, just because it really gives a more round look to the face. And since Furina is definitely a more round looking character, she has a like cute little like round face, this is the kind of blush I would go for. So I'm just gonna put that all over the apples of my cheeks. But then I also like to take a little and put it on my chin to kind of like warm that area of my face up some more, and then just a little bit on my nose. But that's pretty much all I do for blush. And since I just did my blush, I'm gonna go right ahead and do my nose contour. I don't know why I decided to say it like that, but I just did. So what I like to do is I like to take this little flat brush, kind of like a wide little flat brush, and I take this like kind of really cool toned eyeshadow that's just a little bit darker than my skin, just because like I can't find really any kind of good contours that are really cool toned. So if you have any recommendations for me, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And if you got this far in the video already, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe if you want to see more content. That would be greatly appreciated. Back to the tutorial, of course. I like to take that shade and put it on my flat brush. What I like to do is I just like to go straight up from like the tip of my nose and just kind of do like these two little lines and see what I'm talking about, and like make them like a little thinner just to kind of elongate that kind of part of my nose. And then I don't like to do contour in this like middle section. I like to take it from like the top, like the inner of the under part of my eyebrow, and I like to just blend that out right there and then blend it right up in to the under part of my eyebrows, just because it keeps it going. I don't know if you can see it, but on the like side profile of my nose I have like a bump right here, so every time I kind of contour in this area it gets all kind of like janky and weird. So I just like to avoid it so that the front angle of my nose looks nice and straight and even, instead of like that little bump that it's got going on. And then of course once you have that placed down you can blend it out, and it just depends on the person if you like it like more harsh or more soft. I like mine kind of in between, so like it's noticeable, because my makeup is a little bit more on like the bolder side, but in like a natural way, if that makes any sense. Bold and natural, kind of like opposites of each other, but you know what, it works. But once I have that all done, I like to do a little bit of highlighting. And what I like to use for highlight is like a little shimmer shade from my Sailor Moon X Colourpop Pretty Guardian palette. And I take this little shade right here, the camera's picking up on it, and I just like to put that right here on the tip of my nose, and then also right here like in between my eyes. So not down the entirety of my nose, just because like some shimmers will leave a darker cast when the light is not shining on them. So if you have it all the way down your nose, it's just gonna be like one part of your nose is darker than the other all the time, and it's just gonna look like a little bit odd. But these parts are really what honestly work for me, and I think it leaves my nose looking pretty flawless. Now that my nose contour is done, we're going to go right into eyebrows. And what I'm gonna do for like the base of my eyebrows, and I'm just warning you, it's a little bit suspicious and a little bit gross. My face paint bag, I take like my roommate is showing me the face paint off camera. Oh, she's handing me her face paint. Do you want the regular one, speaking of the brand? Oh, here's the brand, the awesome brand, Mehron. I've never heard this pronounced correctly, but she just handed it to me. So now you know, she's the exact same one, the clown white, and I'm handing it back to her. But that is what is all over this weird little bag with a silicone sponge inside. And you know what? Don't judge me. It works really good, because if you ever tried to do what I do with this spoolie and put it in that little Mehron little case thing, it sucks. And then like one side of the spoolie gets like all this face paint on it and the other one doesn't. It's not even, and then it just doesn't work for what I'm about to show you. So I take my gross little bag and I take this little spoolie and I like rub it around on this face paint covered sponge thing, silicone sponge, and I just get it nice and coated. So you can see it's all freaking white, and that's like way whiter than it was before because I just rubbed it in all that face paint. And I just take it and I like to back comb it through my eyebrows. And I'm doing this because Furina, she has like the white, like gray hair, and I just want to like match my eyebrows a little bit more to what I'm doing with her. You can see I'm just combing. But now they're all nice and coated and white blocked out. So now I'm not going to leave them like this because I kind of look like Mr. Clean with a little bit of blush on. Can't really see my eyebrows, but we're gonna fix that by filling them in with some eyeshadow. Now I wish I could show you guys what this eyeshadow looks like on camera like I have been with a lot of the products I've been using, but unfortunately I cannot. And you're like, Lily, why is that? Why can't you show me this eyeshadow? Because it's shattered. Not the one I'm using, but one of the eyeshadows like in the pan in this palette is just completely shattered and loose. And if I were to pick it up and be like, oh hi, look at this, it would go everywhere. And I'm not about to do that. I'm really not. So I'll tell you the name of the palette and the name of the shade. So if you're interested, you can look it up and get it yourself. So the name of the palette is the Morphe X of Bonnie Gregg palette for the Bebs. And the shade I'm going to be using is shade Fishy. Now I'm going to take this shade, and you can kind of see it on this brush. It's like a pale kind of looking little, the camera would focus. Camera's not going to cooperate with me, but it's this kind of like pale, like grayish blue, kind of like periwinkle shade. And I'm just going to start packing that into my eyebrows. Before I get into the giant bulk of what is going to be my eye makeup, I'm going to finish off the other parts of my face by doing my lips. Now I'm going in with the Maybelline New York Super Stay Matte Ink in the shade Loyalist, and I'm using this as the base for my lipstick. So I like to take it and I like to just go right on the bottom of my lip and then two little like swipes right here on the top in like a little heart shape. After that, I like to take a little Q-tip and basically just blend that out. Now, since this is the base, I'm not going to be as precise, but I just do it like all over, basically everywhere I want the color to be, which is just all over my general lip shape. And then once I have this base lip shape down, I buff out the top part a little bit with the more clean end of the Q-tip, and I take a darker shade, which is again another Maybelline Super Stay Matte Ink, but this one is the shade 15 Lover. And I just like to take this, and I like to be a little bit more precise with this because it is a darker shade, so I just take it right into the middle, like a nice little dot in the middle of my bottom lip, and then that same little heart shape, just a little bit less and a little bit smaller. And I take the other end of the Q-tip and I just dab that out on the ends so that it's like a nice kind of ombre fade. And then I don't take it quite as high on the top lip, but I kind of use it to like contour a kind of like Cupid's bow shape for my lips. It's in like a little style I've been feeling the past few times I've been doing my makeup. There is the base of that, and then to top it all off, I still have this stolen from a friend for the time being, but it is the SHEGLAM Jelly Wow little like jelly lip gloss. Sky, if you're watching this is in my room. But I just like to put a little bit of this on top and then right up at these little Cupid's bow areas. Give it like a nice glossy look, but that's really my lip combo. Now we have come to the bulk of the makeup, which is now going to be my eye makeup. Ooh, scary. Not really. It's pretty simple once you break it down into its basic steps, but there are a good amount of steps. So if this is something that you struggle with, then I would definitely recommend to pay attention. First, and this step is optional because you can just use concealer like I've already done before, but on occasions where I do go out and I want to make sure all of my makeup is staying in place, I like to go in with an eye primer. And the one that I'm using today is the Milk Hydro Grip Eye Primer, and I didn't even know that these were like a thing until like recently when I saw it at like, I think it was like a TJ Maxx. And what I like to do is just place this like directly onto like my eyelid and like buff it out with my finger. It's gonna look a little bit funny at first, especially if you put on some concealer beforehand, but it will 100% make your makeup stay throughout the day, especially on your eyes. If you get like, if you're going outside and like, you know, your eyes are prone to like eye sweating. Mine are not necessarily prone to that, but it's a really good step if that's something that you find yourself like struggling with. So I just like to put that on both of my eyelids at basically the same time and just buff it out, like I said, with my finger. And now they are all primed and ready to go. Now what I'm going to do for the base of my eyeshadow is I'm going to take another kind of cool kind of like tan tone and pack that pretty much all over my lid. Looking at Furina, she doesn't really have a lot of pinks going on in her like eye area. She's got a lot more like cool, almost like a neutral kind of gray tones all over her face. So to mimic that, I'm just going to start by like just roughly packing in this kind of gray shade, and we are going to be cleaning it up later on, so you don't have to be particularly precise with this. I just like to put it all over every kind of like general vicinity. And then for sometimes you'll see this little area has like a lot more pigment and it's a little bit uneven as compared to other areas. So to basically just kind of like blend that out or even that out, I can take like a lighter shade like this on the same brush and then just kind of like lightly place on top of the pigment from before, and you can see how that automatically just kind of left it a little bit more even and blended. So if you ever find yourself in that kind of position where it's like a little bit uneven, or if it's like a little awkward, you can just buff it out with a lighter shade. Now I'm going to be a little bit more precise, and I'm going to deepen up the kind of like crease area of my eye, and I'm going to go in with this brown shade and just be really light-handed and just go into that, just that crease area, and definitely just buff it out. And again, we are going to clean this up afterwards, so you don't have to be the most precise. But now that we have this kind of base eyeshadow look, what I'm going to do now is cut my crease. And if you've never seen anything about cutting creases before, basically it's like when you take like a really lighter color, or in this case a concealer, and you basically just like cut a nice sharp little look into the eyeshadow to kind of brighten it up some. so you can add more colors. But for this, I'm just going to take a little bit of that same L'Oreal Infallible concealer from before, and I'm just going to begin to slowly draw on a fake crease with this angled brush. So I'm going to start directly like right here from like the inner corner of my eye, so not on the inner corner but a little bit away from it, and I'm going to just start lightly stamping in this fake crease. And then I'm going to close my eye and just start pulling that concealer in towards the rest of my eye, so it's this nice and smooth blank area. And then what you're also going to do is just take a little bit more of that concealer and just place that right on the inner portion of the fake crease that you have made, and just start blending it out towards the inner part of your lid just a bit more. You can really see the separation. I like to blend it out a little with my finger because the concealer is a cream product, but once you have that, you can really see how this really opens up this inner part of my eye and makes them look a lot bigger. But once I have that all set down and done, some finishing touches, I also like to go in with a super tiny little angled brush and pick up some of the brown that we just used beforehand and start adding a fake outline to the crease to really make it pop. So you can see how that's just really enhanced the look of this fake crease we have just made. Then once you have that all done, you can go in with some glitter on this part of the crease, and I'm just using this little Dikalu little glitter palette I got off of TikTok shop, and I like to take this glitter in this little top corner and put that like directly in the center of my eye, and it's just super cute and glittery. And then I take a lighter shade, which is the shade I used before from the Sailor Moon X Colourpop Pretty Guardian palette, and I take this light glitter shade right here, I put that right on the inside portion of the crease, so it just really brightens up that part of the eye. I'm going to do the cut crease on this eye off camera, but I'll be right back with eyeliner. Now I did my other eye off camera, so we're going to go right in with our eyeliner. Now the eyeliner I'm using now is Lovely Moment by Rozo, and I think it's just a really like thin brown liquid eyeliner. My boyfriend brought this over to my house the last time I saw him, and he left it here, and he lives all the way up in a different country than me, so it's mine now. And I really like it, so I might actually consider buying another one of these when this one runs out. You'll see in a minute why I like it so much. Basically, I'm going to try and just follow like the general little eye shape that Furina has, and it's this kind of like upward, kind of like straight angled eyeliner look. And I'm just going to start by just slowly drawing in So now that I have this base eyeliner moment, I'm going to then just take like this like straight edge, and I'm going to draw a teeny tiny little line to kind of act as like a false little lash line. But this is the general eyeliner shape I'm going for, so it's like a straight little kind of narrow wing, and I'm going to copy this onto my other eye, and I will be right back. Alright, my eyeliner is all done on my other eye, so now I'm going to do the bottom half of my eyeliner. And what I mean by bottom half is my eyeliner is really just kind of like an eyeliner eyeshadow combination. So what I like to do is I like to take this brown shade that I was using already for like these little crease marks and then for blending, and I take that on this same tiny little angled brush, and I just start by going like directly under my pupil and drawing out like a fake lower lash line just to kind of like bring my eye down and give myself like a fake eye look so that I can mimic her eye shape in game and kind of just like draw like a fake little moment there. Continuing, I take a black now with the same little angled brush. So I take this sheer black eyeshadow and I take that and I connect it to the eyeliner up top and I just drag it down ever so slightly and keep it connected in this bottom bit until I have a like fake little eye look. Now, just as we've done this fake lower lash line, I'm going to do a false lower eyelid, which is also known as an aegyo-sal, which is basically like making the little fatty part of your under eyelid, and excuse the background noise, but I like to take the same small angle brush with a little bit of eyeshadow and just start marking out where I want the fake lower eyelid to go. And what this basically does is it makes your eyes look even bigger and just rounder and almost kind of like puffier, but it basically just kind of completes the larger eye look. And you finish it right around there. As you can see, I'm kind of just lightly buffing it out. You can kind of see it there, but I'm going to darken up this little middle section ever so slightly. And you want to be very light-handed with this because it looks pretty awkward if it's a little too dark, but if you do it light enough, it can be really natural and really cute. So basically, I just go in like that, and I add in this cute little false lower eyelid, and you can already see how that's taken my eye more down my face and just kind of made them even bigger as compared to this one. And another thing I like to do is I just like to take like a little fluffy brush and like a little bit of like a warm toned eyeshadow and just kind of like buff that out by underneath to kind of like combine it to the already existing eyeshadow, so it just kind of warms it up and makes it blend in nicer. And I also like to take a little bit of shimmer on a small pointed brush and put that right where the light would hit that part of my eye, this under portion right here. And now we get into the fun part, the other part of the eyeliner. And now this is why this eyeliner is one of the favorites I've used to date, and it's because it is so thin and so good that it makes it perfect for drawing on bottom lashes. So I just like to take it like a little like quick but slow at the same time, so like nice and quick little strokes, but also go nice, slow and steady while you're continuing. I know it's kind of like opposite, but you'll see what I mean once you see me like actually do the little lines. So what I like to do is I just like to start now. I have all of these little eyelashes drawn in, and I'll be right back with lashes. Now it's time for, last but not least, eyelashes. So first, before I put on any false eyelashes, I like to start with some mascara, just because like I like to do my mascara before I put on my false lashes, just because like I just find it easier, and it gets like it like makes sure my lashes, like my false lashes, like last longer. So basically what I do is obviously I just apply it to my top lashes and then the like inner corner part of my bottom lashes. So like I'll go like right here just to make them blend easier with all the false ones I've just drawn on. But once I have a good coat of mascara on my eyelashes, it's time for the big fake ones. Now, I didn't make these. I got them with the costume, surprisingly, and I just think they are super, super cute. They are like these super cute little like Furina specific eyelashes with like these little beads on them. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so perfect. I thought I was gonna have to make them, but I don't have to make them. But yeah, they came with my costume. But I'm pretty sure they would be pretty easy to make regardless, just like, you know, looks like you just need to like lash glue like a couple beads or something, and you can just like find those at like any kind of dollar store, I'm pretty sure. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the eyelash and I'm going to apply a little bit of lash glue, and then once that's dry I'm going to apply it to my eyes. Now I'm using Duo lash glue and it's like really crusty and old. She's been with me for a while and she's done me very well. So I just take that and I just apply it right to the band, and I make sure I get like a nice even coat on here. You want to make sure that this lash is not going anywhere. So once I have the lash glue on, you'll see that it's already pretty white and like bright right here on the lash. But what you want to do is you want to wait until this like little white piece turns like a blue or like a little bit of like a clear, and then that's when you'll know that it's ready to put on your eye. So I'm gonna let this and my other lash dry, but I'll be right back when they're all ready to apply to my eyes. Alright, my eyelashes are now all dry, so I'm going to apply them with my little eyelash tweezer. And basically what I do is I like to stick it right in like the middle of my eye so I can get like a good grip on what I'm doing. And I'll take like the end corner and I'll put that on the end piece, and then just kind of like finagle it with my fingers so they're nice and even. But other than that, I'm good to go. If you let them dry enough, you can just really just stick them on and have them nice and sturdy without having to like have them slip around and stuff. So I think that's a big problem with a lot of people who struggle with like false eyelashes, is that they just don't let the glue dry for long enough. So if you let it dry for long enough, you really shouldn't have too much of an issue. Now for the final step to lock all of the makeup that we've just done over the course of this video into place, we're finally going to go in with one last round of setting spray just to make sure that our makeup lasts all day long. So I'm going to be using the same e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist, and I'm just going to be doing that all over my face one more time. And after I dry this with a fan again, I'll be right back with my wig and the rest of my costume on to show you all the finished product. And here it is, the final Furina look. I styled the wig all yesterday, and this part is completely solid. I know, hold your applause, I'm awesome. But this is the finished makeup look with everything on. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to make more makeup tutorial content. And if you guys have any suggestions for things you'd like to see, like other than makeup content, like maybe like costume reviews or like wig reviews or wig styling tips, anything like that, please make sure to leave them in the comments below. I appreciate all of the support. If you could like and subscribe if you like this content, that would mean the world to me. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys today, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Toodles!